so that you can use it as a resource in the future, and we will find a way to make that resource available to you all. And another good reason to mute your phone so that we don't have any distractions during the presentation. Additionally, we'll be following up with, I think somebody has already asked that question, but we will be following up with sharing these materials, both the presentation as well as another presentation that Chris will mention during this next hour, as well as some other resources and brochures and things like that that will be beneficial to you in your practice. So stay tuned for an email with the follow-up of that. And there will be a survey after this presentation to find out what your thoughts were on it. And lastly, if you do have additional questions or requests that come up after we get off the line today, please feel free to reach out to your CPN territory manager. They should be able to answer any kinds of questions you have or connect you with the right person that will have those answers. So without further ado, I'm going to let Chris Wolf take it from here.
Great. Thanks, Jessica. Hello, everyone. Thank you for spending a little bit of your time with me this afternoon. As Jessica said, I am the Product and Strategy Marketing Manager here in CAM, Cochlear Americas. I am part of the Global Outcomes and Rehabilitation team, and I have the privilege of working with a core team really focused on defining and delivering a new best practice approach to rehabilitation across the industry. And we look at it as more of a manner of improving an individual's quality of life and health through optimizing their hearing function. So our primary focus right now is on that adult audience. And as you may or may not know, most adult recipients are left to, in a sense, self-manage their rehabilitation due to the precious time you have in your clinics, as well as maybe access to complementary resources, etc. It makes it difficult to really support those adult recipients. And so we here at Cochlear believe that it's our responsibility to help you in supporting those patients. So what I'm going to do today is really kind of highlight some of the resources and channels of communication we currently offer our recipients, in turn offer you so that you can better optimize the service that you're providing, as well as talk about a little bit about where we're headed in the future with rehabilitation needs. So first and foremost, I'm going to cover our mission. We're very proud of our mission, and we thoroughly believe in all that we're doing. We help people hear and be heard. We empower people to connect with others and live a full life. We transform the way people understand and treat hearing loss. We innovate and bring to market a range of implantable hearing solutions that deliver a lifetime of hearing outcomes. I'm on the recipient side of the business, and I believe that we empower, transform, and innovate a little bit differently in that we empower by delivering ways to inspire our recipients to get the most out of their equipment and hearing experience. We transform by hearing loss as we believe it just begins with implant, not ends with implant. So how can we help them to experience a whole new way of hearing? And then we innovate through novel ways to provide avenues for recipients to better engage with us and feel like they are supported from us, in turn supporting you and your clinical efficiencies and effectiveness. So going to the next slide, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the agenda here. I'm going to talk to you about how we here at Cochlear educate our recipients about rehabilitation or hearing therapy, obviously our complementary hearing therapy resources, both adult and pediatric, and where we're headed in the future. And then as Jessica mentioned, we'll spend a few minutes at the end talking about your needs, your questions, and just additional feedback and comments. All right. So one of the first things we hear from our recipients is basically, well, why do I have to do this and how long do I have to do it? And so one of the first tasks I had on my agenda in coming here was basically identifying what is rehabilitation really, and how can we better explain it to our recipients. And so we've all landed on the terminology of hearing therapy. What we found through surveys with both professionals and recipients is that it's unlike any other type of medical procedure. If you have knee replacement, you do some type of therapy after to reinforce and strengthen the integrity of that knee. It's really the same thing with a cochlear implant in that you're basically optimizing or improving or retraining your skill set with that device. And so by calling it something like hearing therapy, we actually remove that burdensome, heavy, homework type approach to what traditional oral rehab has been focused on. And as I said, our focus is going to be broader than just the exercises, and so I am going to highlight some of those topics with you. We all set expectations. We tell our recipients that we know everyone is individual and everyone is different. It has a lot to do, obviously, with the device you're using. It has a lot to do with when you lost your hearing and also how you lost your hearing. And so everyone's different, and we encourage our recipients to set individual goals and to focus on those goals, giving them a very loose range of where they should be throughout this hearing journey. We provide them recipient guidance through new recipient welcome email campaigns that really encourage them to more engage with us and reach out and allow us to communicate with them and to guide them with tips and tricks and best ways to optimize their experience. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our Cochlear Family program, and I would highly encourage, if you're not speaking to your patients about it already, I would highly encourage you to suggest to them that they actually sign up for this program. Not only does it give them individual device information, it also allows us to communicate with them through different channels and platforms that provide some of this guidance I'm going to be talking about today. Next slide. So as I said, the first thing we hear about them is, how long do I need to do this? Well, obviously that's different for everyone, as I said, but we start out with telling them that we recommend they either work with a partner or on their own, and we ask them to focus at least 20 minutes a day. We usually say 30 minutes because the majority of them usually shave off a few minutes here or there. So we want to have at least 20 minutes a day focused on some type of rehabilitation exercise. We ask them to do it 5 days a week, and we ask them to do it at the same time every day, making more of a consistent routine type of approach. We also suggest they do it at a time of the day that they're most fresh and relaxed. As you well know, wearing a cochlear implant and struggling with identifying sound and enjoying that sound is tasking, physically and mentally. And so we want them to have the freshest, most alert mindset in order to do this hearing therapy. So encourage, as I said, 5 days a week, 20 minutes a day, and even individualize that approach. It doesn't have to be something that is curriculum-based, that they're following task by task, but suggesting to them that they actually individualize it, personalize it a bit, utilize things that make them happy in their normal situation, life situation, utilize those ways to enforce that optimization. So let's go into next slide. We're going to talk about some of the cochlear hearing therapy resources we have available, complementary to not only you, but also to the recipient. And so these are great ways for you to share with your patients, send home with your patients, or actually sit and do one-on-one or group visits with them. So we'll talk about that with each resource. On the next slide, you'll see that we now offer what we call the Adult Home-Based Hearing Therapy Manual. These manuals are truly a workbook, for a lack of a better term, for you to sit with your patient, go over exercises, create basically a hearing therapy plan for your patient. Send them home. It's a workbook for you to send them home and actually ask them to complete certain tasks. It starts out very simple, and that moves on to more complex types of activities. There is also a clinician version that really truly helps you to assess how to use the manual with your patient, helps you to assess your patient's skill level, and as I said, helps you to develop that hearing therapy plan for them so that you can send them home and then they can do these exercises on their own. I do know of some professionals that use these manuals in the clinic one-on-one with their patients, or sometimes even in a group setting. So feel free to be creative with these manuals, use pieces and parts of them, but they are very nice for a send home type of activity. These are available in English in all the kits, system and upgrade kits, as I said. We do have them available in Spanish and French in both PDF format as well as order. So if you'd like to order some of these and have a nice inventory at your clinic, by all means, let your territory manager know or your ProCare representative, and we can get some of these sent your way. Might even be ideal for some of your older recipients that are still struggling. I will give you a story I heard a couple weeks ago from a recipient, and it was just heartwarming in that he got an implant. He refused to do any type of what he called practice. He was looking, a year later, looking at a second implant, and his wife refused because she said he didn't take advantage of the first one he had, nor was he committed to the practice, if you will. So he started his hearing therapy a year after implant. He went from a 45% word score to a 100% word score, got his second implant, and is doing phenomenally well. So I guess I'd like to say that it's never too late. And so by utilizing some of these resources with your older recipients, you may see that you're having better outcomes, less demanding requirements from some of your patients, and helping with your clinic efficiency as well. Next slide. This is what I mentioned earlier about joining Cochlear family. So by joining Cochlear family, your recipients or patients have access to newsletters that we send on a monthly basis, blog articles, etc. And a lot of the content that is shared in those different channels is actually kind of real life scenario coping skills. And so you'll see here on the screen, the first thing that we mentioned, I highlight, is the hearing therapy tips for adults. And these are for adults that are looking to do hearing therapy on their own. They're really not interested in just using the manual. They want to take part in maybe applications like apps and in different websites and programs. So this is a nice comprehensive list for your patients to really start to develop their own hearing therapy customized plan. As I said, it highlights different apps, different websites, etc., that they can utilize for free without joining any program or anything like that. The second is the holiday tip sheet, and that was something that has come to our attention on many occasions where our recipients feel they're doing very, very well. They get into a scenario where they're in a loud, noisy, holiday-type environment with family. They feel very overwhelmed. They feel like they don't know how to explain their situation to the family members. They can't hear anything. So this is really a tips and tricks guide to help them optimize that experience and perform better and help to educate everyone that is around them and use that network, if you will, to help motivate and encourage them to continue to be involved with the family and engage. The third one I highlight here is live life learning. We have recipients that are going back to school or starting new jobs or just looking at broadening their skill sets. Maybe they're taking a pottery class, etc. So they're looking to Cochlear to provide them with ways to feel better, confident, and open to experiencing those situations where they're not necessarily in control of the situation. So again, it kind of goes back to that life coaching sort of approach, but through these communication channels, we're able to deliver this information to your patients, to our recipients, and help them to have a better experience across the board. The next slide talks about our Here and Now blog. This is yet another channel where we supply our recipients with information about real-life scenario. Sometimes they're recipient stories, sometimes it's research-based information in more of a consumable format. Sometimes it's those guiding tips and tricks, quality of life type of applications that really help to support them. We also have our social media platform that I highly recommend. If you're not following, you should, as well as refer that to your patients. Cochlear America's Facebook group, we actually feature a lot of the same information and even probably a broader fashion through our social media channels. A lot of downloadable tips and tricks, guides, as I said, recipients telling real-life situational challenges and accomplishments that obviously resonate very, very well with other recipients. So highly recommend you tapping in and engaging with Cochlear on these different platforms as well as suggesting that your patients do that for further information. Next slide is about our chapter meetings. As you well know, that within territories we offer monthly, and in most territories monthly, chapter meetings. And those chapter meetings are really a great way for recipients to come together to get support and guidance from Cochlear professionals. It's also a great way for candidates to come and to learn more about Cochlear and see the community that we've developed and see the support platform they have available to them. So on this slide, I'm just highlighting a few of those presentations. So some of them that we actually offer are what we call just Hearing Therapy 101. So it's really, what does hearing therapy look like? Here are the resources available to you. This is how you best approach it. Sometimes they even do group activities and one-on-one type hearing therapy activities with the people that are attending the chapter meetings. They'll talk about those, as I said, real-life type of topics. Holiday tips. It's a new year. I'm focused on improving myself and improving my hearing outcomes. How can I set goals for myself? How do I stay motivated? So it's really a support network for your patients and for you as a recess to really sort of offload some of the burdens that you might be handling right now with your patients. So highly encourage chapter meetings for both recipients and candidates that are considering Cochlear. Next slide, I'm going to talk to you about the complementary true rehabilitation programs we have available on a microsite that we call the Communication Corner. So all recipients and all professionals, you don't have to be a Cochlear family member or anything, all recipients actually have access to the Communication Corner. And in fact, I know a lot of non-Cochlear recipients and professionals utilize these resources as well. So we love to share the love across the board here. So anyway, the website is actually comprised of hearing therapy programs for both all the way from infant all the way through adult level. And so when you access the Communication Corner, I'm going to highlight the adult version right now, you're asked to complete a form. And that form is really just a way for us to gauge who's accessing the website, how can we further engage with you and more personalize our content being sent to you, as well as we ask that you or the recipient/patient take an assessment. And that assessment may seem time-consuming, but it really does have a purpose. The assessment is an algorithm of sorts that allows you to identify the skill set of either your patient or the recipient that's taking it, and then dropping them into a program that's most suitable for their skill level. And then they'll still have access to all of the exercises both prior and after, but it does help them to more optimize their approach. So for the adults and for the teens, there are 3 different types of programs available. The first is called Breaking It Down, and the second is Putting It Together, and the final is Communication Skills. And these are basically downloadable activity sheets or exercise sheets that you can print off, you can suggest that your patients print off, and it's truly activities that they can sit and do with a partner, caregiver, spouse, and go through these. And so it's a really great way for you to have a comprehensive rehabilitation program for your patients, but still allowing you to have the time and the focus on other patients by sending them home to actually download these activities and do at home. We do have brochures in both English and Spanish that we are happy to send to you and that you can have an inventory to hand out to your patients to remind them of this complimentary resource and to better encourage them, obviously, to utilize it as well. The next is a resource that is probably our most popular of resources. This is Telephone with Confidence. We get about 3,200 calls a month to this 800 number. What it basically is a 7-week hearing therapy program via the telephone. And so a recipient calls in to this 800 number. They're able to just listen to a word of the day, a word list of the day, a short passage of the day, a long passage of the day. There are several different topics they can listen to, etc. If they want to listen and read along with what's being said on there, they can go onto the website and actually download those scripts. Now, I know some clinics that actually download those scripts and make copies and hand them out to their patients and send them home to do their work. I also know of several clinics that actually offer their patients the ability to access this and follow through this program at their clinic setting. So they may have a phone off in the corner in a private office, something like that. Some clinics actually have interns, etc., that walk their patients through this. But this is really a non-intimidating approach to hearing therapy, especially older recipients are more comfortable with the phone than they are with accessing something online. And so this is a really nice introductory way to get your patients kicked off immediately with their hearing therapy. I will be transparent in the fact that I know that Telephone with Confidence does not offer that interactive type of telephone skill, but we are working on what I call Telephone with Confidence 2.0. It's the next level of skill set building, and so it will be more interactive. It's more digitized in the sense that you're speaking with a chat bot, if you will. You're able to select different languages, male versus female, etc. And so the person actually participating with this is asked to make appointments. They're asked to repeat back what they heard from an order per se. So it's really a nice way to take that telephone skill to the next level. And so that is something that Cochlear will be offering here in the next few months, so keep an eye out for that as well. As I said earlier, this is available in both English and Spanish, so it's a nice diverse resource for you, and again, super easy to send home the pamphlet with your patient and suggest that they tap into this immediately. Next slide is going to highlight one of our most recent resources that we've launched. It's called Bring Back the Beat, and it is a smartphone app available both on the iPhone and Android as well as tablets. This is really for that recipient that's gone through several months of their journey. They're feeling pretty good about their skill level, but they're still not quite happy with the way music sounds. Obviously, we do many surveys, etc., and we hear from our recipients all the time that, that music just does not sound the way that they remember it sounding. And in fact, it's the #2 priority for our recipients. That's what they want to get back most. And so that we know with dedicated and very focused attention that they can actually bring those sounds back to life and be enjoyable sounds. And so we've offered this complimentary Bring Back the Beat app, which is really a simple to more complex app with 5 different activities that really help the recipient to focus first and foremost on one instrument at a time, certain pitches and tones of that one instrument, and then building their way up through the app to actually listening and appreciating an actual concert or orchestration, if you will. It's in a gamified type of approach, and it exists in a fantasy world called Harmony. I will say that our older recipients get lost a bit on that fantasy world and gamification. They're just looking for the exercises to do. So that might be something that they may first and foremost find a little bit of frustration with. But I want you to be open-minded with this app and consider using it for your younger recipients or even those pediatric patients, because music is really at the heart of everything that the kiddos are doing when it comes to rehabilitation. And so this is a really powerful tool for them to actually go through without any intimidation. Those kiddos really don't think about what they're doing, they're just doing it and finding pleasure in it, which some of our adults are really so dedicated and thinking about what they're doing, they lose sight of the actual progress they're making. So I encourage you to encourage them to utilize this, not take it so seriously. I would suggest it's something that you introduce to your patients later in their journey. We do know that focused attention to music and pitch perception actually does correlate with speech perception and sound and noise. So think about this app as more of a hearing therapy resource than just a music appreciation resource. Next slide. We do have here a demo. It's on YouTube, and we will be sending this information to you. But a lot of professionals have said, I love this. I want to be able to highlight it and show the why and the how of the app. Do you have a demo? We do. It is on YouTube. I'm not showing it today because it'll take up quite a bit of our time. But that is something that you can show your patients, tell them, highlight to them what the app's about and how it benefits them. As I said, we do have download cards and a frequently asked question brochure that are available to you for order if you want to hand these out to your patients, etc. So a really nice way to complement your hearing therapy inventory of resources. The next slide basically tells you that it's downloadable in both the Apple and Android app stores. Your patients, as well as you, will access the app using your current Cochlear account information. And if you don't have one, you can actually set one up within the app itself. If your patients are struggling with this, by no means do we want you to be handling any of these issues. By all means, refer them directly back to Cochlear customer service, and we will help them with any login issues they may have. If they're having app difficulties or confused about the app itself once they're in there, there is a feedback feature that we highly recommend they complete and send their concerns our way. That information comes directly to myself as well as to the product management in Sydney, Australia, and to the app developers. So we're able to incorporate changes immediately and obviously improving that user experience. Excuse me. We currently have over 8,000 people that have downloaded the app. I'm sorry, we all have the coughs here on this end. What's most encouraging for me is that close to 44% of those people are actually playing for more than an hour. So it's really telling that they're getting something out of it and they're seeing that there's some real improvements. So again, something that I would highly recommend you take advantage of and suggest to those more seasoned recipients. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about some of our pediatric resources we have available. We do have a very robust programs available, but as you well know, the pediatric recipients are receiving a really wonderful type of coverage through school, through SLPs, ABTs, etc. But I want to highlight these because I do feel like this is a really nice way for you to encourage your parents of patients and even professional educators on what they can do to supplement the therapy that the patient is already receiving. So the first one, I'm going to just talk about a couple different brochures we have available. The Back to School Guide actually offers parents and teachers with simple tricks and tools to help the school-age children thrive as they move through the classrooms. And so it's just encouraging tips, different resources, different approaches, different ways that an educator can customize their delivery in the classroom to really optimize that student's learning experience. The second is what we call the Fun and Tips brochure. Again, it's just a nice piece for clinicians, professional educators, as well as parents to, as I said, broaden that hearing therapy exposure via game, via booklets, via toys, etc. So these are items that Cochlear has vetted out, find to be very beneficial and easy to use, and so we wanted to pass that information on to you. These brochures are obviously available to you as well. You can request for them to be sent to you via email or obviously inventory sent to you for your clinic. The next is just a sampling of some of the activities and toys we have available. And these are ideal if you're working one-on-one with pediatric patients in the classroom, at the clinic, or even in group scenarios. The Ling toys and cards, these are a very popular packet of resources and toys that we have. And they're really designed to help test a child's hearing device. And really accessing and making sure the child has full range of sound necessary to learn the language. As I said, it's fun and it's playful. The patient doesn't even realize they're doing something clinical, if you will. It's just more about, you know, the pictures, the sounds, and the toys that are correlated with those cards. So I encourage you to consider those for your parents as well. Suggest to them that they reach out to Cochlear and order. They are available on our store. And as I said, a lot of these resources we're going to be sending to you in the next couple weeks, so you'll have your own copy of these and available in your clinic for usage. Bucket of Frogs, another great way to engage in more of a game type atmosphere and setting, encouraging your students or your patients to help you to better identify how they're progressing. Bucket of Butterflies, the same type of scenario there. And then we do have the pediatric speech hoops as well as adult speech hoops if you're looking to raise the bar on your therapy by doing more of a, you know, non-lip reading approach or not even seeing the face, so you're not seeing those emotional context clues that you're delivering as well. So again, complimentary to you. Some of these are on a limited quantity basis, but reach out to your ProCare rep, inquire, or your local territory manager, and we can ensure that we take care of you in getting those to you. More on the communication corner on the next slide. This basically is, I'm going to highlight the different programs we have available for the little kids as well as the school-age children. So we'll just go on to the next slide and talk about the Sound Foundations for Babies program. This program is actually available in both English and Spanish, and it offers a 40-week activity type approach to supporting you and your patient as well as the parent. So again, very much like the adult program, these are downloadable PDF weekly exercise sheets that you can either send home with your parents or suggest they download, and that they can supplement their hearing therapy or rehabilitation at home, or if you would like to, within your clinic. As I said, both in English and Spanish, the brochures are available as well. You can utilize those to keep them well informed of how to access these programs. The Sound Foundation for Toddlers program is very much the same thing. It's taking those skill sets to yet a higher level. It too is a 40-week clinically designed program to help just improve on those listening skills and that speech development skill. The next slide is yet the third level of our program, the Sound Foundation for Children. And it's just, as I said, that more complex offering. It's designed for children 36 to 48 months of age. And within this program, there are hundreds of different games and activities, again, for the clinic, for home, for the school setting. And it's reinforcing the child's core learning areas for receptive language, expressive language, and speech. So it's just taking, yet again, a higher level. So truly through all of these programs, you have a 0 to 5 to 6-year-old approach. These are even activities and things you can do prior to implants, even with children that are just experiencing some hearing loss or those children that are using hearing aids. The Leaping On with Language is actually more for our school-age children, and we have this program only in English at this time. It's more of an aim at accelerating a child's spoken language, learning beyond just simple sentences to more complex and abstract language. So it's focusing on listening, extended achievement, and promotion. And this, again, can be used for children with implant, prior to implant, slight hearing loss, etc. So a really nice, comprehensive program and platform for you to utilize, again, in clinic, send home with parents, etc. So brochures available in both English and Spanish for those programs as well. The next slide basically highlights our Spanish resources that we currently have available on Communication Corner. You will be receiving a copy of each of these as well in the hearing therapy kit that we're going to be sending you. But again, just additional resources that highlight fun games, activities, processes, etc., to support those Spanish-speaking patients. So we here at Cochlear understand that an implant is not just a device to hear sound. It should be a means to ensure that our recipients are actually enjoying sounds and enjoying the true sounds of life, right? So we're taking our hearing therapy, as I said earlier, beyond those first few months of rehabilitation. We're taking it to be more of a support and a guidance through the recipient's journey with us. So from the time of implant through their life journey as a Cochlear recipient, our hearing therapy should be there, and we want it to be there to help support our recipients and to support you as well. So I'm just going to speak a little bit about where we're headed and then open it up for some more questions and feedback from you. So as we know, word scores are not the answer. We hear time and time again from our recipients that say, I score 100% on my word score. But then I go out to a noisy restaurant, or I go and I sit in church, or I go to the theater, and I can't hear anything. Help me, my device is not working. Well, you know well that the device is only a piece of that puzzle. And so we here at Cochlear want to help to motivate, empower, guide, and equip our recipients with the devices and the education they need to understand how to best cope and how to best optimize each and every experience throughout their life journey. So that is really, truly our focus going forward. As I said, there's an entire team now in Sydney, Australia, and regional members such as myself that are actually focused on this holistic type of rehabilitation. It's more than just exercise, it's guidance, it's life coaching, it's counseling, if you will. And that in turn breeds better outcomes, in turn allows you to be more focused on new business, supporting your patients that need support in other areas, etc. So by working together, we can really change the face of what hearing therapy or really rehabilitation looks like, and most importantly, change the outcome of our recipients. So we're focused on a real scalable approach for real life hearing outcomes for adult recipients. We're making it personalized. So in the applications we're looking at launching in the near future, we'll be able to tell by data logs, etc., and by behavioral analysis what these recipients are engaging in and what they're doing. Are they in a noisy environment a majority of their time? If so, then we can suggest personalized information that helps to guide them and to educate them on best how to cope in those scenarios. So again, we're taking that next step to really empowering them to self-manage their hearing outcome. As I said, empowering them, making it more self-directed, and making it more of a collaborative community type of experience than, oh, I'm on my own, I have no support or no knowledge of what to do next. And we're going to make it scalable and cost-effective across many different types of platforms, both digitally and in paper, etc., making it accessible for our broad needs of our recipients. So last but not least, I would love your feedback. As I said, we are really looking to help to support the recipient first and foremost, but also to support you. How can we provide you with the tools necessary to help you to optimize your service offering, help to build efficiency and effectiveness within your clinic, and ultimately to drive a more positive outlook on cochlear implant as a whole? And so I would love for you to provide me with any questions you may have. I know Jess is actually currently typing in on the chat feature my contact information. My email address is cwolfe, C-W-O-L-F-E, @cochlear.com. My direct telephone line is 303-264-2114. I'm always open to chatting about feedback, suggestions, answering questions, If I don't have the answer, I'm really good at finding an answer for you. So by all means, reach out. I would love to help and support you and help to better understand how can we provide the resources that you need to help optimize your business and your clinic. So thank you. Do we have any questions?
We haven't had any as the presentation has gone on, but I encourage anybody to type in some questions through the chat function if you have any. Okay, this one's from Elena. Where do we find those worksheets? Oh, hold on. Where do we find those worksheets that patients can download?
Okay, those are on the communication corner. So we will be sending you, as I said, a hearing therapy kit, which will highlight all of the resources I covered today. You'll have a copy of each one of those. But in the meantime, just do a Google search for Cochlear, the communication corner, and you'll find it. And they just go in and they can, as I said, download, pick the category that's most appropriate, adult, child, whatever, and then go in and actually download the exercises. There are little PDF icons behind each weekly activity, and you can download them there.
And then it looks like Jacob has a similar question. Is all of this available in the, it says MIC Cochlear site. I'm assuming you mean My Cochlear Clinic site?
So these resources are not all currently available on My Cochlear Clinic site, but thank you for reminding us, Jacob. I will be placing everything that we reviewed today on My Cochlear Clinic under the Rehabilitation tab. So give me a couple weeks because I have to get all my ducks in a row to get it up there, but we will definitely have it there for you, so it'll be easily accessible.
And then Lee is asking, do patients sign up for the Cochlear family when they download their app or somewhere else?
They can do both. If they would like to sign up for a Cochlear family and not necessarily the app, again, you could search in the meantime, until we can get you collateral, you can search for a Cochlear family, and then you'll go to a website and it'll say create an account. You can create an account there. If they want to go into the app, the Bring Back the Beat app right now, they can go in and create an account there as well.
Great questions, everybody.
Yeah. So thank you. Just really quickly, I want to highlight some of the ways that other clinics are using these resources. It might be something that sparks your attention. It might be something you take and totally, revamp, etc. But we do have clinics that are utilizing these resources on one-on-one scenarios. As I said earlier, they may have an intern, they may have a support staff that's doing these one-on-one with the patients. We do have some professionals that are hosting a once-a-month type group activity, maybe Wednesday nights, bringing in or offering the option for their patients to come in, may ask them for a small monetary fee to get in. They might serve pizza, etc. And just doing these group activities together is really a way to get them started, as well as building community and that network as well. Again, highly encourage you to suggest the chapter meetings, suggest, again, the Cochlear family, download and subscription so that they get that information. And again, as always, your patients are our patients. Have them call Cochlear if they have any questions about additional collateral needs, etc., guidance. We are always here to assist. So thank you so much for your time. Be looking for those kits. We're also sending you a presentation that will allow you to basically talk through what I highlighted today if you're looking to do that with one of your patients. So thanks again.
Thanks, everybody. We hope you'll join us for future CPN webinars, and we appreciate your attentiveness and participating in this one. And again, as always, if you do have outstanding questions, please feel free to reach out to your CPN territory manager. Have a great day.